Hi, today we're going to talk about some soft skills of the Agile Coach. Okay, first of all, emotional intelligence. Very useful, very powerful, and, to my humble opinion, really interesting stuff here. Why is it kind of important? Well, it's because so much of Agile is about interaction. It's about people engaging with people, and we're all different. We're all intelligent people, but we're all wired differently from each other. Different things turn us on, different things turn us off. Sometimes we're really good at expressing emotions. Sometimes we're really poor at expressing emotions. Sometimes we kind of fly off the handle. It's stuff we do. Emotional intelligence is about trying to kind of up our responsiveness, shall we say, to the emotional temperature, up our ability to understand what the emotional temperature is currently in ourselves and also in others we are interacting with, and to be able to respond effectively to that, not to be driven automatically by our emotions, but just to take stock and actually choose to use them or choose to just override that automatic reaction. So much of emotional intelligence is basically is built on the fact that emotions, to a certain extent, are trigger things that we feel, and it's easy for us to just kind of almost ignore them and not take account of them. But emotions can really affect how we interact and how we feel and how effectively we interact. And what we're trying to do, the goal here is we're trying to move ourselves, move our team into a position of high performing as reasonably rapidly as we possibly can. And that means getting to a place where we actually start, we listen to people, we don't fly off the handle with people, we treat each other with respect, and they're all kind of high emotional intelligence kind of activities. So we need to get from a kind of a starting point where we're a real mixture of different levels of EI up to a kind of area where we're all a bit more tuned in, shall we say, to this. Okay, so there's a four branch model of emotional intelligence that is kind of reasonably widely used, and I'll just take you briefly through this. I personally find thinking like this, it's really helpful, myself as a coach, and then also when I'm trying to bring this stuff over to teams. So I guess the underpinnings really are really straightforward. It's actually just tuning into your own emotions and also to the emotions of others. So it's just recognizing stuff going on. Oh, I'm feeling angry. Oh, I'm feeling happy. Oh, I'm feeling stressed. And that can be linked into verbal stuff I say. I'm angry. You can see me angry, but also my eyes, my mouth, my body language. All those sorts of things are there as well, and they're telltales that are there for the examination of if we have the interest to actually look. So go look at, when you're talking to someone, when you go look at the telltales on their faces and their body language. Are they actually engaging your eyes? Are they eyes shying away? They're doing anything but fiddling with the phones rather than engaging contact. All those sort of things are clues to emotions people are feeling. A good coach can actually walk into a room and can pick up the emotional temperature in that room really quickly just by tuning in to everything that's going on or isn't going on, as the case may be. And that can be really, really helpful. Okay, so perceiving emotions, that's the first stage. Second stage is actually using those emotions to facilitate our thinking. And the reason is simply is that strong emotions are often tied to things that we feel are important. I mean, that was the evolutionary kind of meaning of emotions. That's one of the reasons why we have them, is because it's a shorthand. It helps us get cut to the chase and deal with the things that are important. So actually understanding our emotions and then kind of perceiving them and then being able to, and then tuning into them allows us to kind of focus on the things that are important. Then take them up a level, understanding the emotions. There's an emotional temperature. You go into a room with your meeting with your boss, and he's sitting there and he's stewing, he's steaming, he's annoyed. You can tell just things are getting banged down, things are getting shoved to one side on the desk. Oh gosh, it's your natural reaction. God, what the hell's going on here? I'm in deep trouble here. There's something I've done. Clearly, something I've done has really kicked this off. What is going to happen now? Puts you in a stressful position, but actually it might not be you. It could quite easily be got a speeding ticket on the way to work. had a big kick-off row with the children just before leaving for work. Just taking a difficult phone call from a relative who's poorly or sick or something like that. It could be a whole host of reasons. So it's actually realizing, okay, being able to take a step back and understand it's not necessarily you, but what's going on here, and trying to dig in. There's a whole range of causes for emotions. And last we take that step forward into actually we want to then manage our emotions. And this is about recognizing that emotion you feel and not firing the automatic response. When you're interacting with someone, we're talking, you're mentoring someone, mentoring a product owner who's struggling to engage with the team. He says he's on board, keeps repeatedly saying on board, but doesn't get it, doesn't seem to get it, doesn't follow through on commitments, isn't turning up at retrospectives, isn't turning up at planning meetings. The temptation is just to read the riot act, to get really frustrated, like, for crying out loud, I've explained this stuff a million times, how hard can this possibly be, and let your anger come through and your emotions of frustration pour through, show all over your face. But it's absolutely the wrong answer. What you've actually got to do is we've got to manage ourselves, manage those emotions. Yes, it's frustrating, of course it's frustrating, but think, it actually might not all be that poor product owner's fault. Perhaps it's me, perhaps it's my teaching style. Maybe I'm failing to get messages over. Maybe there's some other stuff kicking off around it. The situation actually requires is calm, pleasant, digging into the situation, trying to find some common ground, trying to actually understand what's going on. And me just firing off in frustration will not help one little iota. Okay, so that's a very, very brief emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, again, why is it really interesting and important? Because it really underpins a whole bunch of skills, if you like, or techniques which we use to promote better team working. And I'll talk briefly about 4 of these here. There's more, but this is just 4 that I really, really like and find useful to think about. First of all is presence. And what's that? Presence is actually, it's all about just being tuned in to the here and now. So when you're in with your team and they're going through a retrospective, or they're having a discussion about technology choices, or how testing's going in the current sprint, that sort of thing. And it's actually being tuned into them. It's actually really, really listening. So it's not actually sitting there going dum, 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 and sort of windmilling a bit, looking like the lights are on and I'm engaged, but I'm not really. It's going in one ear, out the other ear, while I'm kind of thinking about, yeah, I've got to go to the shops when I finish here and get something for tea. What am I going to cook? Or I had that bit of a punch up with my partner this morning, and we had a bit of an argy-bargy, and oh dear, that was terrible, I shouldn't have said that, I need to go back and say sorry, and that sort of stuff. That's all distracting. You're not hearing a thing that's going on, we're not observing anything. So how can you coach? And that's as a coach, but it also goes for team members as well. Agile is about collaboration. It's about 1 + 1 = 3. It's about all those team members tuning into the problem, tuning into the challenge, and engaging and putting their tuppence worth in, because all those tuppence worths are valuable. And if you've got 1 or 2 or 3 of the team who just sat there going, playing with the game on the phone, twiddling around, not really tuning in, their minds are off elsewhere, that's not a very good collaborative situation, is it? So presence, it's about really focusing on the here and the now. And I've seen this done where actually the coach will actually call us out and say, hey Fred, I don't think you're with us at the moment. Is there something troubling you? Is there something you either want to talk to us, or perhaps should we take 5, let's go grab a coffee, let's get some fresh air, deal with what you got to deal with, and then let's come back and let's focus on the problem we're trying to solve here. Okay, so that's presence. Listening. This is about, again, it builds on presence. It's about really focused, active listening. It's about being absolutely tuned in. It's not just windmilling away, letting it go in one ear and out the other. Anyone can do that. It's really easy, doesn't require any effort at all. Active listening is really hard work. It's actually engaged body posture. It's showing that what that person is telling you is really important to you. It's ignoring stuff like the phone sat on the desk going meh, meh, meh. Someone's trying to get through to you. Hold on, just take this call, it's clearly important. No, it's like wrong answer. The phone stays there. You've got someone walking past in the open plan office, wanting to get in touch with you, wanting to catch your eye. Yeah, you just ignore them. You don't need to. They can either wait for 2 minutes, or you go find them afterwards, because this conversation, this listening you're doing is actually really important. You need to show its importance. And active listening, it requires real self-management. It requires self-control. So it requires engaged body language, engaged facial muscles. It's about absorbing, working really hard to absorb what that person is telling you, also what they're not telling you, but also the body language. How are they telling you? What are the emotions that you can see portray and hear portrayed in that person as they're telling you, giving you this information? And that allows you to better respond. And then you can use tricks like things like paraphrasing. Is an immensely powerful technique. It's hard to do, but actually just showing you've paid attention, saying, that's really interesting. Okay, can I paraphrase now and attempt to explain, try and tell you what I think I've heard you say. I think I've heard you say that you're really frustrated because in a number of the meetings we're having, a number of our stand-ups and retrospectives, you feel that you're getting talked over and the guys aren't listening to you, and that's making you feel really mad and really frustrated, because you know you feel your opinion's not valued. Is that kind of am I getting that right here? And so paraphrasing back can be really, really powerful in terms of letting the person understand that you've heard them, you've listened to them, you've understood them. Okay, powerful questions. Really just means kind of open questions. Basically kind of means you don't just like take the thing on point blank and just go, right, okay, fine, interesting. It's actually about digging into something. It's asking open questions which demand reflection. They make someone introspect, think before they answer. So, okay, do you want to tell me some more about that? Or what do you think's at the heart of this issue? What do you think is there an underlying root cause? Is there something that's digging underneath this? What are you going to do next? That's another great one. You're in a meeting situation and we're all go twiddling our thumbs a bit. Okay, what are we here to achieve today, guys? What is the problem we're trying to solve? It's a way of getting everyone back onto base, perhaps. Or perhaps if someone is got a challenge there, they're really stuck with it. Okay, take a step back here. What would your colleagues or your customers or your managers suggest doing at this point in time? And then go into silence, let them think. Does that help? So very, very powerful tool for just kind of digging into stuff, getting to root causes, and getting people to dig under the surface about issues, about problems, about improvement opportunities, about all sorts of things. So really powerful technique there. And then lastly, giving and receiving feedback. This is often something we really tend to be quite poor at, but it's something that good Agile teams do all the time. In fact, all these things are. You see a good Agile team, they'll all be tuned in, they'll all be listening, they'll all be asking deep, powerful questions, because it's about getting to the heart of the issue, getting to the hard nub of the challenge as quickly and as effectively as possible, making sure we haven't left any stones unturned. That's what it's about. So giving and receiving feedback goes in there as well. It's about not just giving generic, yeah, you're all great, or those guys over there, they're awful, they always wind us up, they're always late. It's not very helpful, stuff like that. You can't do anything about that. If someone's on the receiving end of that, it's a bit insulting, really. It's like, yeah, great, what do I do now then? Give me a clue. It's so general, it's easy to punch holes in it. It's easy to get into a me versus you argument and discussion about that, if we're lucky, discussion, or fight about it. The art of good feedback is to be precise about it, is to actually make it very precise, very objective, very timely. So give the feedback as soon as possible after the behaviour you saw that was either fantastic or not so fantastic. Ask permission to give feedback. That is so empowering. Like, Fred, can I just stop you? Do you mind if I give you some feedback? I'd really like to give you some feedback about what just happened there in the meeting we were just in. They might say no. Yeah, of course they might. But most folk will say, yeah, okay. And then give them the feedback very respectfully. It's not about point scoring. It's from a position of just putting the information on the table, not from a I'm better than you, but from a this is what I saw, this is what I observed, this is what I think I felt, this is what I felt, made me feel, or what I think the team perhaps felt. And it's not even then about demanding answers. It's treat the person you're giving feedback to with sufficient respect that you respect that they've taken that on board, and they may well choose to then answer, or they may choose to go away and reflect on it. But you've given the feedback in a respectful, trustworthy manner, and that carries a lot of power and a lot of gist. Okay, and we're here on the Agile Accredited Training Roadmap, and we're in the coaching stream, and we have two classes there: Agile Team Facilitation and Agile Coaching. And the soft skills I'm talking about, I've just been talking briefly about here, are very applicable to that coaching roadmap. They apply very strongly to the Agile Coach, but also to the Agile team members as well. It's what it's about behaviours that we will engender and we need to actually take on board.